shit, Dustin. Do you see who it is? It's Michael Roman from Everything Always. Dude, thanks for being on the show.
Dude. Yeah, dude, this is crazy.
Holy shit. Absolutely. Thanks for being on the show, man. So I like to start off with the basic question. How did you find yourself in the whole entertainment business? And YouTube is entertainment. I'm going to tell you that right now. And your music career, all that stuff. How did you land into this wonderful business that we're all in?
It's weird. I didn't, I'm not from a generation where I grew up learning the word YouTuber, and I actually didn't use that word until I was well past the point qualifying for myself. I've always been in entertainment, although it's mostly been music. I've done other stuff in front of and behind the camera. And I think that if you're in the game long enough, whether you find success at the big level or not, you will find yourself making content. That's just where we are at in 2022. And I think there are tons of big names, people we used to see on TV, on the big screen, who are doing that now, and they probably like it better, and they have, more control over your fan base. I just think that, I found myself there. I think like a lot of people my age who are also doing it, we just were in the entertainment industry on some level, and it led to independent content creation. Now I'm on YouTube. So.
Hell yeah, dude. Absolutely. Well said. We have a similar background. Dustin and I are background artists and part-time actors on different shows and things that's filmed here in Charleston. And we just, we love doing that, but we also love interacting with people like yourself on YouTube, man.
Right on. Yeah, right on.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely changed the atmosphere and the industry over the years, and how it was. When I first started out, it was like I would have a job or a gig like once every 2 months, and now it's every single day we are making some kind of content. So it's really awesome how that worked out. All right, so you are like, your channel, you're Marvel, you love Marvel. So I'm gonna throw some Marvel stuff at you. You ready?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. How excited? Okay, which film are you more excited for? Doctor Strange 2 or Thor Love and Thunder?
So it's funny, right? Like I think that Thor Ragnarok finds its way into a lot of people's top 3s and top 5s. I know for me it is, but honestly, I'm more excited for Guardians of the Galaxy 3. I would say neither. I think Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness is going to be that sort of big epic. We haven't had a Marvel Studios Spider-Man No Way Home. We haven't had a Marvel Studios Avengers Endgame in a minute. So they want to go ahead and do the blockbuster thing, which is cool. I'm for it. I'm glad we're there. But I also just think that James Gunn's writing is immaculate. I think Peacemaker just outshined a lot of the other superhero stuff going on. And so for me, it always comes back to the writing. And I know that I am a Marvel channel, but when I started, I wasn't. I covered all. It just so happens that Marvel is the Goliath in the industry, and my interests and tastes perfectly lined up with them. So it wasn't like I had to, adjust. I was already covering it a lot, but I mean, it's definitely the point of interest now, the main point of interest.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, that was the right answer, by the way. Guardians 3 is the right answer.
Right, for sure.
I just got a casting notice for going to Atlanta for Guardians 3. I might definitely love to be on that set. That would be fantastic. I'm excited about all of them equally, but for me now, even though I love watching your channel and everything you do, I'm kind of really interested in Love and Thunder because we don't know much about it. So right. I think so that excites me. I'm like, all right, cool. So now I don't know shit about it other than it's going to be badass, and it's got James Gunn in the cast, and of course, it's going to be. We know some things obviously with the storyline, but I'm a huge horror movie fan and just a born Sam Raimi fan. Period. Sure. With Marvel dipping its toes into, let's all say, a horror film with Doctor Strange 2, do you think that we'll see a lot more horror related content?
So it's funny. Forward? So it's funny you asked me. I immediately noticed the Michael Myers and the posters behind you and like the horror theme. So I'm a big fan when it comes to horror genre. I'm a big fan of slashers. Yes. And that's just something Marvel's never really going to be able to do. We live in an age where the CGI and the graphics have passed the point they needed for good slashers. Like, it's just overkill now at this point. But unfortunately, Marvel's never going to be able to quite go there. but when we saw the Doctor Strange trailers, there's a touch of Sam Raimi's grotesque. It's there. So my fingers are crossed that Sam Raimi fought them tooth and nail and really pushed that whatever they were willing to do and took them to the edge of what they were willing to put in a trailer. I hope. I don't know, man. We're gonna have to wait.
I hope so too. Don't water it down. Let's right. Take the risk. Marvel can take risks. DC Warner Brothers can't take risks, but Marvel now can take a little bit of risk. People are going to watch it nonetheless. But a Midnight Suns fucking TV show or a movie where it's Ghost Rider and Blade and everyone teamed up. Now that could be a project moving forward that would be pretty interesting and pretty scary. Fingers crossed, dude. Fingers crossed.
Hell yeah. Speaking of Sam Raimi, he did come out and say that he's open for a Spider-Man 4. If that happens, who would you want the villain to be in that fourth movie?
So so I'm a purist.
Yes.
And I guess Sony's already screwed this up, but if we're gonna do Spider-Man 4, you better call up John Malkovich, see if he wants to put the Vulture suit on and drag it out. I don't know what we're doing. I mean, or they'd have to go. You know what? It's funny. It's hard for me to think about Sam Raimi making Spider-Man 4 now, like to actually take that seriously. I know he just talked about it, said he's down. Doesn't mean it's going to happen. But man, wouldn't it be so weird to get a Spider-Man 4 in the context of like today's cinematic, Marvel explosion? I don't know. It'd be weird. I don't know. That'd be tough.
It would be. I thought about the same thing with Amazing Spider-Man 3 if that could happen. Which. Yeah, it'd be weird nowadays. I think. Never know, man. Never know.
That one feels more relevant because of just Andrew Garfield and all of the things he's doing right now, Tick Tick Boom and everything. I mean, I think
for the record, I was a little shocked and am very aware that I have a very different take on what Sony is doing. Everybody saw Morbius just like me and said, oh, well, this must be Andrew Garfield. That is like the literal go watch the videos from last week. Every single one of them said the same, all the same people in the same space. No way. No way. I mean, I love the idea. They want Tom Holland's Spider-Man to make big cha-ching bucks with whatever the heck they can put together for Morbius and all that stuff. So I just don't see that either. I don't see any of this, quite honestly. I see Sony wanting so badly to be adjacent and more than adjacent to the Marvel Studios that they will do everything they can to get Tom Holland's Spider-Man to face the Sinister Six. Maybe in one of the Tom Holland's 4 through 6 Spider-Mans under Marvel, they go ahead and set up all the film movies themselves and then find some on-ramp to the multiverse and bring them over or something like that. I don't know.
That's well said. Absolutely, yeah.
I can definitely see that happening. Yeah.
So Michael, for you, you're no stranger to being in front of the camera and of course behind the camera. If posed with the option, right? So variance is the thing. That's the new trending word. So if they came to you, if Kevin Feige came to you and said, hey, we want you to play a variant of a character in any of the movies, who would you choose to play?
It's funny. Who would I choose to play if I ever got that opportunity?
Yes.
Well, my community has seemed to embrace me as a Reed Richards variant, which listen, honestly, if I got to play anyone in the MCU, I'm trying to be realistic about it and think who I could play, right? Like, I'm not super big and super ripped. I know that they can do wonders, but like, I'm never going to be Wolverine. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I've always pictured Gambit as a tall guy, but if I'm just getting my pick, if I'm just in the aisle, please let me do that. Would be an amazing role, especially with today's CGI and just like,
oh my God,
oh my God, dude, it'd be amazing. But that ship has long sailed, and quite honestly, I think I mentioned this like right when we were talking about like people in the industry getting to do content now from their house in their own space. And I think about my friends I've got a good friend who is just in a major motion picture. He was in Moonfall. He was in a music video of mine way back in the day. And I think about him on set day after day after day for months at a time. And then I think about my commute from when I wake up, depending on whether I slept upstairs or downstairs here, just roll into my studio and turn the camera on. And I don't take that for granted, guys. It's real nice. It's real nice. So I'd have to think long and hard about that. Even you know, the buku bucks you get for it. It's those guys, it's not a joke. It's not something you could just moonlight. That's a real commitment to wanting to make that art. And I don't know about that.
I feel you. Gambit's an easy. That's sort of a costume. You learn the accent, that kind of thing. I was thinking Silver Surfer, personally.
That's cool.
That'd be
cool.
back.
Well, and then you'd be doing voiceover, right? Because you'd just be,
yeah.
Unless they're going to show Norn Rad change, you
that's
just
all you would need.
voiceover.
Yep.
Yeah, so that'd be sick.
That'd be sick. Yeah.
Heck yeah.
It's really it's.
Yeah, go ahead, Dustin.
It's really funny that you said about working from home. I think one of the main reasons me and Noah decided to make Cloudy Sky and start doing work from home for that reason, because the commutes and the traveling, and it gets to you. And it's just cooler that in today's world, we can just make content from our home, like content that we enjoy, and so it's fun.
Guys, a band I was in for a decade imploded, which is fine, because bands are like marriages or anything else in life. They have a natural shelf life. They live, they grow, they breathe, they die. That is a natural, literal progression of anything. And so one of the guys, I'm still doing music now. Obviously, I've got All Fires, and I literally forced that back out. I hadn't had enough downtime for my old band, but the YouTube channel took off, and I was like, well, no, I'll be damned if I'm not putting out music now that I have a YouTube audience. I didn't work this whole time for this to not. But I've got one guy from that band who put together a band on Twitch. Shout out Risky Biscuit. And we looked at the logistics. I should say he looked at the logistics, and I didn't think it was a good idea. I told him it's one of the one times I've been really wrong about it. I didn't really encourage him to do it because of the initial cost of the startup. They're killing it right now. They're doing great. They're making a living, bringing their full band on Twitch, and he's killing it. And we talk about it all the time. How when he was in the band that I toured with, the amount of money, you got 5 guys in a band, plus our tour manager, plus our merch guy and or a sound guy in a van or in a tour bus going city to city, all that time, the per diems, all the setup, dragging all the equipment out, the man hours, all of that for months on the road to make very little margins. Or he just has a studio set up in his room and the whole band just comes over 4 times a week and they just broadcast live. And now their margin for overhead was just paying back the initial setup cost, which they've more than made back now. And they're making a living doing it. And it's just like, you know, I want to be back on the road. I want to be playing live shows. But for some people who don't want to do that or don't have, you know, the overhead to be able to afford that, they have a band now and they're reaching people all over the world. And, you know, to be fair, even though I was in a successful touring band, there were nights we played for less than 100 people or less than that. And for that much energy to go into a show, they're doing 250 plus, sometimes 4,000 people on a stream right from their house. Can't beat it, man. Can't beat it.
Making money off subs and donations. Twitch is where it's at. Oh my gosh. You could really make some money off. But I do want to shout out, I love Ocean Gold, man. I love that song.
I appreciate it. Dude, I'm taking a play out of some other friends of mine taking a play right out of the Imagine Dragons playbook. I know it's a random band to name drop. I know these guys. Their first like 6 or 7 songs were completely different, or maybe their first 2 EPs. And I'm not locked into anything right now. I don't have a band. There's no bureaucracy. I don't have to have a band meeting, be like, hey, we're doing drum and bass today. Hey, do you guys want to do an indie throwback? Hey, we're doing post-punk. I just do whatever I want. I'm trying to serve the songs, and it's weird. I mean, yeah, I have a bunch of different stuff. I'm just going to try to keep doing that until one thing clicks. And then, you know,
I dig that.
Same game we're all doing, man. Same game.
Absolutely, same thing. No, that's how you play. And speaking of that leads to my next question. So with a lot of YouTubers, you know, some people have been on the platform for a long time. Do you think it's too late for someone to start their channel now in YouTube where it's at to blow up? What advice would you give?
I think it's the same. Yeah, I think it's the same as it's ever been for any content creators. Okay, look, let's be fair. All right. Yeah. There are going to be natural SEO. All right. If someone's watching this interview and you don't know what I mean, okay. Search engine optimization is great to talk about. Companies want it so that, you know, if I need a lawyer and I go to Atlanta Lawyer, SEO would be who comes up first, right? Well, we're not doing that game. We're doing a different game. We're talking about entertainment, and there are going to be natural trends in the popular culture that are waves unlike others. Avengers Endgame, Spider-Man No Way Home, those kind of hypes are going to bring people to the kind of movie content that we do in ways that say right now the hype might not be there, but you can start at any time And a great example of this is I should say a friend of my friends. I don't know him directly, but he has a very successful Star Wars channel, started a Marvel channel when Avengers Endgame was hype. Pandemic hit, the hype for Marvel Cinematic Universe kind of hit a lull. He stopped his channel for a year and a half. This man came back and got right back in the algorithm just like that. You can start anytime, but you got to be consistent and you got to post every day. And for a lot of my even, younger friends, but adult friends who are like, they're all ready to go, they have a hard time getting their first video out, or 3 a week or 4 a week. And I'm like, no, you're doing this wrong. Like, I sometimes do two videos a day. And for the first 3 years of Everything Always, I took 4 days off. Say that again for everybody so you can hear me in the back. In 3 years, I took 4 days off. I take 4 days off a month now. I make myself do it. Today was one of those days. I took today off. I made myself do it. There's still stuff to talk about. It'll be there tomorrow. But no, for the first 3 years, I posted every day. And if you want to make it in content creation, I don't care. Instagram, music's different because you can't be putting out songs every day. But you really, if any other game, you've got to be putting out content every day. And it's hard. It's hard for a lot of people. It's really tough.
Yep. Well said. Absolutely. Well said.
Oh yeah, the consistency is where it's at. Some advice I was given not so long ago at an event was wake up every single morning, grab your phone or your camera, and just make content. That's where the world's at now. We just want to keep consuming the content.
That's right.
And we need it. And now the cool thing, though, especially for filmmakers with these streaming services, is they're starting to come to you, the independent, they're starting to go to the independent filmmakers now for their content. With a streaming service, you have to put out content every week now. It's not like, it was back.
And can I ask, do you guys mostly focus on like the industry stuff behind the cameras? Because I find sometimes when I do interviews like this, because it's a point of my interest, like the actual, not like the content itself, but what it takes the content creators to create content. Yeah. And like my conversations will just naturally go there without, I find it so much more interesting, just like, because this is what's crazy to me too, is that like people don't understand what it takes to get that train going and then keep that train running. And like, I have some friends who think, I'm out here, money for nothing and chicks for free. And I'm just like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? The job is hard. It is really hard. There are days where you don't want to talk about it. There are days where you feel like all you're doing is repeating yourself. There are days where you don't want to even talk about what's, what popular, or, maybe 4 other channels just busted and got on the story first. And now I'm 2 hours late. You know what? But man, like that, this is our job and it's tough. It's tough to be creative on tap. And I think that people take that for granted. I really do. I think people think, it's a cake. No, it's not. It's really hard. Shit's hard, man.
I'm glad you said that. That's exactly what we're looking for. Yeah, because people come to us all the time too, especially when we land interviews and we talk to, from you to, people are on the set of these TV shows, to director, producer, even a grip. We want to talk to everyone to take all of it to make this product that people see. And we're shedding light on that because people see a movie and they're like, oh, look at that. They didn't think of the 1,000 animators it took to animate a 10-second scene, or the 5.
Exactly. And then it really comes down to, and this is where I think it gets a little weird now, guys, my YouTube is my profession. It is how I pay my bills. I have a Twitch channel where I stream video games. I have my music, which I do make monthly music off. Guys, shout out if you're a musician out there. If you just keep putting songs out, you can ground out a monthly, but it wouldn't be enough to even cover what I paid to get the songs produced in the first place. So YouTube is where I make my money. And I have had 2 offers now from companies that if you had told me 3 years ago, we're going to reach out to me and either want me to write for them or want me to come do host work for them, I would have been like, are you kidding? And I turned them both down because it's not even just the paycheck and the rivaling of what I'm making on YouTube, but the headache and just the bureaucracy of having to deal with multiple people who have agendas and ideas and thoughts. And guys, isn't it a beautiful thing when it's just you two, or like you two? And I don't know if you have any extra crew, but like if there's 4 people in a room, shit can get fucking done. I have signed 2 of my tracks to independent labels, and shout out to my boy KJ Saka, who's the drummer for Pendulum, and he's killing it. I had a track on his label Impossible Records, and it was just him and me. We got together, we got that track done, we put it out, and we crushed it. I've also had a track on another major label where that shit took 6 months it took 6 months to do 4 emails to talk about artwork. And like, 2022, that life will pass you by. So I don't know. A lot of people out there think that like the next major record label, or, you know, I'm going to write a script and it's going to get picked up by Miramax or Sony or one of these fucking studio houses or whatever. And it's like, yo, but if you could also find someone to independently fund your shit, you have a better chance of your indie movie actually getting released and coming out and getting eyes. You go and try to play the big game and your shit gets locked down. And now you're 3 years into a project that they already greenlit, but now they might not greenlight. And you guys know. And then what?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Create your own shit. Create your own studio, you know,
Exactly.
Recording studio, your own company. That's the way to go. Yeah.
Exactly.
That's literally what we just did. Like
we
are so tired.
And you know what? Listen, you got a better shot of making it happen than they will anyway, because who's going to grind harder for you than you in the first place?
Absolutely.
Exactly. 100%. Oh my God. 100%.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It's gotta, and you know, I'm lucky enough to have had a voice big enough in the space for a little while where, you know, I'm lucky enough to get to interview some of the guys. So have you guys had any interview? Do you have a connect over? Let's talk about it after the interview. Let's get you guys connected with my connect at Marvel so you guys can get some.
Oh, sweet. Stuff, absolutely. That'd be fantastic.
But you just stick around and you start to just, you know, agitate and get in the space, and people will notice. They will. The apps, music, YouTube, all of it. It works.
Yes. Connections. That's our show, Hollywood Interviews. I think maybe we've talked to like one agent. You go through the people, you know, like my very first interview was Gerald Webb. He's a director, producer, casting director. And he got me in contact with like several other people. And, right. You know, and you just start making those connections, and it was not like that back in the day. I mean, like, because of where technology is nowadays, we can just communicate with each other and make shit happen on our own.
Right. And honestly too, is like, for anybody who's been, again, and I keep saying for any level of the industry, people have had agents who deal with, it turns into a bunch of nonsense when really we can just all do this business ourselves. So
it's too much red tape. Let's cut that shit.
Exactly. Yes, sadly, I'm a little too old for TikTok, so I missed the whole TikTok thing. But shout out to all the kids who jumped right on that and changed their lives on that platform.
Yes.
So I mean, yeah,
hell yes, absolutely. And we've got Danny McBride connections if you ever want to do the HBO. And we've got a few HBO connections.
Yeah, no, we'll talk for sure. I was curious though, because like it's funny, some of the Marvel interviews I've done, it's really weird to me. Like some of the brass I was super excited to talk to. The channel didn't respond the same way. And you know, it's the same with making different kinds of songs and music and experience content. Like, you know, some people like the interviews, some people want the news stories, some people want the casting stuff. And yeah, you guys are going to find out. You just got to respond to what people like. And then you just change and pivot on that and focus on that. I mean, YouTube's great for that. It really is. It really is, for sure.
Hell yeah.
Well,
we do. I don't think anything that anyone could say is better than that right there. That's a good way to end it. And of course, everyone watching our show knows you. But again, we're going to put all the links to anything you want, and definitely some of your Spotify stuff too. Because like I said, like, you know,
Ocean Cold,
no problem. Some songs out there
too. The space right now is just so oversaturated for the self-promotion thing too. But this is what I will say, guys. You guys personally, just keep the YouTube algorithm, to me, other than Spotify's new Discover Weekly, which someone should investigate Spotify and figure out what is going on with their AI. That is the best AI I've ever seen in my life. And I think like, so they might have like some secret codes or something, but YouTube literally knows how to give people the content they want to watch and will keep doing it. And like, I've had friends jump in YouTube and hit the algorithm 6 months. I've had friends who've been on YouTube for 2 years, and then one day they wake up and the algorithm picks them up, and then all of a sudden their channel goes from 3 million or 2 million views total to 3 million views that month. And I've just seen it again and again. So you asked if it's ever too late, man. It'll never be too late, bro. Billions of people want content, man, you know? So
fuck yeah. Well, Michael, dude, thank you so much for being on the show, brother. It's an honor. And given that,
you guys for having me, I appreciate it.
Absolutely. And the real deal, like the straight shit that most people are too afraid to talk to.
No worries. It's all good. It's all good. Yeah. Well, hey, thanks for having me, guys. I really appreciate it. We'll do it again sometime, and follow up in Instagram on my DMs, man. That's right. My emails are overrun, bro.
I feel you.
Thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
Thanks, man. Thanks for stopping by.